It wasn't a hunch. It was a cold certainty. After that strange, quiet meeting with my father, Thomas, and my sister, Lily, something felt wrong. I found myself deep in the secure archives of Redwood Analytics Group, a place I hadn't needed to visit in years. I found it tucked away, a single black folder. No label, no project code. My hands were shaking as I opened it. It wasn't a draft. It wasn't a proposal. It was a finalized, notarized legal document. 100% of the company's voting shares and the title of Chief Executive Officer were being transferred to Lily. My name wasn't in it, not once. 12 years of my life erased with ink and signatures. I received nothing. That betrayal didn't just hurt, it felt impossible. It felt impossible because for 12 years I wasn't just an employee, I was the successor. I'm Natalie, 34 years old, and for over a decade, I was the head of strategy and operations at Redwood Analytics Group. That title sounded impressive, but what it really meant was that I made everything work. I built the entire analytics infrastructure from scratch, the system that tracked consumer behavior, optimized ad spend, and predicted market shifts. The system that tripled our revenue in 4 years. I was the one who missed my college roommate's wedding. I sat in my car in the parking lot of a chapel in Monterey wearing a bridesmaid's dress, closing a client call because my father had forgotten the meeting. I closed the deal. I missed the ceremony. I was the one who sacrificed my 20s and most of my 30s. My personal life became a graveyard of "I'm sorry, I can't tonight" messages. I didn't take vacations. I didn't date. I worked. And I did it because of the promise. My father, Thomas, had always made it clear. "One day this will all be yours, Natalie," he'd say, clapping me on the shoulder after I landed a major account. "You have the mind for this. You're the real thing." I believed him. I built my entire identity around that promise. People ask why I stayed so long, why I tolerated the endless hours and the missed holidays. It wasn't just loyalty. It was a psychological trap. When you're the one who keeps the family business alive, your sacrifice becomes who you are. You're not just an employee. You're the load-bearing wall holding the whole structure up. You wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. You convince yourself that one day it will all be recognized. That dedication becomes an invisible chain. You stop asking whether you want to be there and focus only on the fact that you're needed. And the people who benefit from your sacrifice are more than happy to let you keep carrying the weight. I wasn't just working for a company. I was working for a man who looked me in the eye, called me his daughter, and promised me a future while quietly preparing to give it to someone else. Then my sister Lily came back. She hadn't been home in years. She'd been traveling through Arizona and Texas, rebranding herself as a lifestyle consultant, building a following online. She was 30, magnetic, effortlessly charming, and had a social media presence my father found intoxicating. I had dashboards and models. Thomas was immediately captivated. Within a week of her return, he called a company-wide meeting. He announced Lily was the new CEO, effective immediately. He said she brought a fresh perspective Redwood Analytics desperately needed. Her work began right away. She changed the company font. She spent days choosing a new color scheme for the break room. She posted selfies from the conference room with captions about leadership and balance. And she left by 4 o'clock every day. The strategies I spent months developing were suddenly dismissed as rigid. My projections were ignored in favor of Lily's instincts and energy. I watched my father, a man who built his company on discipline and numbers, melt in her presence, mesmerized by buzzwords. It's easy to ask why he was so blind, why he'd hand his legacy to someone with no experience. But it wasn't blindness. It was a choice. A family system that had been operating for years. There was the golden child and the workhorse. Lily was the one who was praised for being charismatic. I was the one who was trusted with responsibility. Competence earned labor. Charm earns credit. My father needed Lily to be the visionary so he could justify ignoring my results. He needed me to be dependable so I'd never stop working. I was expected to accept it, to keep my head down and run the numbers, while Lily ran the company on vibes. That's when I remembered the Horizon Project. It was mine, a $10.8 million campaign renewal for our biggest client, Denise. I spent 6 months building it, a fully data-driven overhaul of her national marketing strategy. I finished it weeks ago, but Thomas kept postponing the presentation. "Denise isn't ready," he said. "Let's wait." Now I understood. He wasn't waiting for the client. He was waiting for Lily. I logged into the server. There it was. My deck, my data, my strategy, and on the cover slide it read, "Presented by Lily Carter, CEO." He was handing her my work, letting her claim the most important project I'd ever built. I stood there in the silent archive room, holding that black folder. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. The person who believed in my father's promises disappeared in that moment. What replaced her was calm. I walked out of the office without saying goodbye. I drove home in silence. That night, at 10:47 p.m., I opened my laptop. I typed in my father's email, my sister's, and Marlene from HR. The subject line was simple: resignation. The body of the email was 2 lines. "This email serves as my immediate and final notice of resignation from Redwood Analytics Group. My access card and company laptop will be on my desk by morning." I hit send. Then I turned off my phone. A few days passed in silence. I breathed for the first time in years. Then, exactly as I expected, the panic began. When I finally turned my phone back on, it was chaos. Dozens of missed calls. My mother, Evelyn, had left tearful voicemails. "Natalie, please, you're tearing this family apart. Call me. Your father is just trying to do what's best." My sister sent a single text. "You're being dramatic. You're really quitting because Dad finally gave me a real role? Grow up." From my father, Thomas, nothing. Of course not. He expected me to crawl back. I deleted the voicemails. I blocked Lily's number. Then my phone rang again. Marlene from HR. I answered. "Natalie," she said quickly, with relief in her voice. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said. "Just unemployed." She exhaled. "Listen, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but they're moving forward with the Horizon pitch. It's Friday. Lily is presenting it as her own." "I know," I said. Marlene hesitated. "The thing is, she doesn't understand the data. She's been asking the analysts to simplify the numbers and make the slides prettier. She thinks the $10.8 million budget is flexible. She's going to crash. Is that what you want?" I thought about Denise, a woman in her early 60s who built her empire on metrics, not marketing slogans. 3 months earlier, we'd had a private lunch. She was frustrated with my father's vague direction, and in a moment of confidence, I'd shown her my preliminary Horizon models off the record. I remembered her studying the projections quietly, then smiling. "This," she'd said, "is the thinking I've been waiting for." Denise already knew whose work it was. "Marlene," I said, "I'm not doing anything." "What do you mean?" "I mean I'm not saving them. I won't interfere. I won't step in." A calm settled over me. She wants to be CEO. Let her be CEO. I didn't need to set a trap. They'd already built one. Lily was just about to walk into it. I didn't have to be in that boardroom to know how it would go. I knew Lily, I knew Denise, and I knew my own work. Lily would walk in confident, probably wearing something that cost more than my first car. She'd charm the room. She'd perform the presentation. My slides, my data, my strategy would light up the screen in trendy fonts. She'd talk about synergy and momentum and brand energy. She'd glide over the allocation models and consumer acquisition forecasts like they were obstacles instead of the foundation. She wouldn't understand that for Denise, the data was the story. I could see Denise sitting perfectly still at the head of the table, listening, waiting. When Lily finished, Denise would lean forward and ask calmly, "Can you walk me through slide 43 again, the allocation model? Your data shows a 14% shift in Q3, but your projected ROI doesn't align with acquisition cost. What data set justified that number?" And that's where it would end. The pause, the panic, Lily searching for answers she never had, trying to pivot with language instead of substance. Denise wouldn't argue. She wouldn't raise her voice. She'd simply see the truth. Competence recognizes competence, and fraud is silent when exposed. Lily's failure wouldn't be dramatic. It would be quiet. the sound of credibility collapsing. It was Friday afternoon. I was at home folding clothes into a box. My phone rang. Denise. I answered. Natalie, she said, her tone precise. That presentation was remarkable. I stayed silent. Your sister's direction was not what we discussed. More importantly, she couldn't explain a single data point. We're withdrawing the Horizon contract effective immediately. $10.8 million. Gone. Denise continued. I'm only telling you this because you originated the project. We will not partner with Redwood Analytics unless you are the one leading the account. Goodbye, Natalie. She hung up. I placed my phone face down and slid another book into the box. An hour later, my phone rang again. My father. I answered. Natalie, what did you do? He wasn't asking. He was shouting. His voice cracked with panic. Denise pulled the contract. All of it. $10.8 million. You have to come back. You have to fix this now. I listened to his breathing. I'm not the COO, Dad, I said evenly. Lily is the CEO. Let your CEO handle it. I hung up. My phone lit up immediately. My mother. I let it ring. A text followed from Lily. You set me up. You embarrassed me. This is your fault. You ruined everything. I stared at the screen for a second, then blocked her number. I blocked my mother's. I blocked my father's. I went back to packing. A week passed in silence. Through Marlene, I heard the office was unraveling. 2 senior analysts quit. Clients demanded explanations. The Horizon fallout spread fast. The company was bleeding, and the new CEO had no idea how to stop it. On the 8th day, an email landed in my personal inbox from my father. 3 words. What do you want? I didn't reply. I forwarded it to my attorney. His response went out an hour later. Legal meeting, tomorrow, 10 a.m. When I walked into the conference room, my father looked smaller than I'd ever seen him. Slumped shoulders, tired eyes. His lawyer sat beside him. Lily wasn't there. She couldn't be. Natalie, he began. I stopped him. Here are the terms, I said, sliding 1 sheet of paper across the table. 50% equity transferred to my name. Chief Operating Officer effective immediately. Full strategic control over all accounts, including Horizon. Lily is reassigned to a non-strategic creative role. No client contact, no decision-making authority. His lawyer read it and sighed. My father stared at the paper. 50%? That's the price, I said. He knew the truth. The company was days from collapse. He nodded, agreed. When I returned to the office, I didn't feel victorious. I felt focused. This wasn't revenge. Revenge looks backward. This was justice. Justice is about what you build after you remove what's broken. My first act wasn't firing anyone. It was rebuilding. I reorganized the data team. I called the 2 analysts who'd quit. I offered raises and transparency. They were back by lunch. That afternoon, I sat in the corner office and called Denise. Denise, it's Natalie Carter. I heard her smile. I was hoping you'd call. There's been a change in leadership, I said. I'm the new COO. 50% equity. She paused. That changes things. Send me the proposal. I smiled and opened my files. I'm sending you the real Horizon pitch, the one you were always meant to see. I hung up. My father and sister thought my value was something they could assign, a title, a role, a percentage. But my value was never theirs to give. It was my competence, the systems I built, the work I understood. They didn't see my worth until I removed it. You may not get to choose your family, but you do get to choose what you tolerate. Don't let anyone define your value for you. Define it yourself and demand that it be respected. If this story resonated with you, like the video. Subscribe to the channel for more stories from the Revenge Vault. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And comment below with your perspective or the key lesson you took from this story.